Good morning, welcome back to Three Swords Gaming. I'm going to do another new player guide video. This one should be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And it addresses a question that I have seen a surprising amount in map chat, and maybe it's just because some folks have a different approach to like MMOs and gaming in general than I have. And that question is, what do I need to spend gems on? And when you say that, what you mean is, what do I need to spend real money on? And it's a question that actually kind of dismays me a little bit, because the answer should be, and largely the answer is, nothing. You don't have to spend money on anything. In fact, if you're a free player, what you actually have with a free account of Guild Wars 2 is essentially the original core game at launch, with just a few restrictions applied to it to keep people from taking advantage of like making 200 free accounts or something. But the game, functionally speaking, is exactly what we had at launch and what I put hundreds of hours into before expansion started rolling out. So even as a free-to-play player, you have a lot of game available to you. You should not feel obligated to spend money on anything as if something's being kept from you. If you do want to spend money, though, if you just have money burning a hole in your pocket, the very first thing you should spend money on absolutely is more content. So really, this question is not relevant until after you actually have all the content in the game, because that's where you're going to get, by far, the most bang for your buck. And I don't think that's really even open to like conversation or argument. Any player with any sense who's been in the game for a minute should give you the same response, that the first thing you would want to spend money on is just more game. When talking about, hey, what should I spend gems on, my assumption then is you already have all the content in the game. Because if you have 10 or 20 bucks and you're wanting to buy gems with 10 or 20 bucks, then you could have put that money into some DLC or something, right? Most things in the gem store really are a question of, I want a thing because I think it's pretty. Pretty much everything is going to be some variation of, I want to look like a thing. I want to look like that, or I want to look like that, which I don't particularly, at least on male characters. I want to look like that right there. That's fine. And these can be things for your homestead. These can be individual armor pieces. They can be whole outfits. They can be mount skins. Let's see, are mount skins on sale right now, I wonder? There's a lot of outfits for sale right now, and the sales are going to come and go, right? So sometimes if you have money burning a hole in your pocket, I don't know, buy gems and then sit on the gems until the thing that you really want is for sale. Not seeing a lot of mount skins for sale. Looks like the Winter's Day mounts are currently on sale. We can take a look at those if you want. Like, oh nice, that raptor has, you know, mittens. The skimmer has a scarf. Very, very nice. All of this is aesthetics. Like, it's, I want to look a certain way. It's cosmetics. That's fine. If that's what you want and that's what you want to spend your money on, that's cool. But I don't necessarily, like, endorse it as your first choice if you decide to spend money on the game. There are a handful of items that if you're willing to spend money, you say, hey, I have the content, I want to support the studio, I'm really into the game, and I'm ready to spend some money. There are a handful of items that I do strongly recommend. Let's take a look at a few of those. There's one in particular that I want to start with. We're going to have to kind of start like sorting through, or actually I guess we can use the search function to find some things. Copper-fed Salvage-O-Matic. So that I have as my number one thing within my shared inventory slots, and some of these things I don't even care that much about. But in this particular case, Copper-fed Salvage-O-Matic is, if you're bound and determined to buy like actual utility items in the gem store, this is the first thing I would recommend you buy. Essentially, it's going to replace a vast majority of your, and I picked kind of a poor character because I don't have anything here to savage, but it's going to replace all your savaging kit needs. It's always going to be there. It charges 3 copper, which is, you know, a pretty paltry amount down here. I'll go from all this to 4 silver, 3 copper down here in the bottom right corner. So a very paltry fee to salvage one item. Really a good purchase. There is a similar item that you might consider called the Silver Fed. This would be one of 2 options that you might consider for your rares, your yellow items that you get on drop. So if you're trying to get a bunch of ectoplasm, which is very desirable in terms of building your account value, of crafting a lot of things later, of just generating wealth, like those ectos are going to be, they're one of the primary things in the Guild Wars 2 economy, then salvaging rares with like a silver fed or with the Runecrafter Salvage-O-Matic, and there are some differences between the two. I'm not going to get into the differences right now. You're welcome to look into them. But using one of those two items when you salvage a yellow is like absolutely the way to go to generate ectos. Don't use that copper fed on those yellows. You're going to generate far fewer ectos than with the silver fed. Also, do not be confused. The silver fed does not require a full silver. It does require 60 copper for use, so don't use this on particularly common items. But those salvaging tools are the very first things that I would recommend spending actual like gems on if you're bound and determined to spend some gems. All right, a couple more things that I think have a lot of utility and you'll actually get your money's worth out of. One of them is expanding your material storage. Let's see if we can find that item real quick, or if I'm going to have to search for it again. All right, let's search for storage. Build storage, that's not what I wanted. Bank tab, bag slot. Oh, come on, it's got to be for sale right now. Is it not even for sale? That's insane. All right, maybe it's not for sale right now. That seems so unlikely, though. Expanding your material storage is very desirable, so I strongly recommend that, just because the 250 limit is pretty low. You're going to hit 250 on some of the things that you're gathering or getting through salvaging pretty quickly. So, again, if you want to spend gems, you might find that particularly helpful. A solution until you're able to do that would be like a storage tune, right? Another thing that you might find handy are unbreakable gathering tools. So instead of routinely buying gathering tools, grab some unbreakable ones. Now you never have to worry about gathering tools again, at least on one character. This set is an example of a particularly nice one because instead of coming with certain glyphs on the gathering tool, so the glyphs give the gathering tool an added benefit. In this particular case, though, you get to choose your glyph, which is really nice versus, let's see if we can find an example of some. That one doesn't look like it even comes with a glyph. So I would recommend buying one with a nice glyph or buying one that allows you to choose your glyph over buying one with no glyph. So this one comes with the glyph of the herbalist, grants a 33% chance to reward bonus harvesting. Oh, I actually have that on one of my characters. And it's not bad if you are looking for ingredients and just filling your material storage with ingredients. It's fine. It's not the most lucrative one. The most lucrative one is associated with the Unbound gathering tools, which I did see for sale here earlier. If you just want to flip your gathering into extra gold, this Infinite Unbound gathering tools is going to be, oh, well, it actually comes with the glyph selection container, so you can choose. But getting Unbound magic during your harvesting is like a nice thing if you just want to flip all that into gold. Bank tab expansions, nice. Not a bad purchase if you're looking to spend some gems. One other thing that you might consider. This is fine. If you have a lot of friends and you play with those friends and so on and so forth, this isn't a bad purchase. Just keep in mind, like, there are other ways of getting teleport to friends. Like, there are scenarios where you're not going to have to worry about that as much. There are a couple things I want to discourage. One of them is this additional crafting license. Please don't, like, I don't recommend that. Like, look at the cost. It's the same cost as an extra character slot. Just dedicate characters towards specific character crafting. Character slot is not a bad use of money, although I'll get into this a little bit with my alt video when I talk about alt accounts and alt characters. Getting a second account is significantly cheaper than the same number of characters if you just buy character slots. Now, there are some drawbacks to that, but keep in mind 5 character slots for like 20 bucks is better than 5 character slots for 50 bucks. Something to just give thought to. I also strongly discourage the Waypoint Unlock box. It's not that hard to do map exploration, and unless you are like exclusively a PvP player, then you're going to be doing exploration anyway. And by the way, it only unlocks the waypoints. It's not really particularly helpful for map exploration. This is an absolute scam perpetrated against primarily new players. I think this is a terrible buy, but that's my personal opinion. I would never spend money on it. You can throw away your money if you want. Shared inventory slot, not a bad purchase, but if you don't have all of the expansions yet, you will get one of these with a full purchase of an expansion anyway. So you could spend roughly $9 or whatever 700 gems comes out to be, $8.50, $9. Or you could just spend another, $15, get a shared inventory slot, and also get all of the content that comes with that expansion, which will also include a level 80 boost, and we can see that is like $25 wherever that's hanging out. Here it is. That is a tremendous waste of money, when again, you can just get that by spending $25 on an expansion. Get all the content or waste your money on this ticket to level up one character. What an absolute fraud. So a few things to stay away from, but also a few things that I do recommend. Storage is nice. Salvaging utility is nice. Harvesting utility is nice. We shouldn't have to pay for these, but equipment template, that being this right here, is not the worst thing in the world if you find yourself changing equipment layouts regularly. Again, I would rather just have... and now I'm in my underpants. I would rather just have a different character than switch on this same character, but that's because I like alts. Not everyone does. Okay, hopefully that was a little bit helpful for you in terms of what you're spending money on and what you're not. Yeah, it's that simple. And if you like aesthetics, hey, spend money on aesthetics. I want to see the studio succeed. I want to see devs get paid. But I would also like to see you spend your money and feel benefit from that if that's what you've decided to do. So, something to think about. I hope you have a great day, and I will catch up with you soon when we knock out another video. I still got a few things I want to cover, so we'll get around to that in relatively short order. Thank you. Have a good one.